Hi, I'm Rachel, and well, in my last video, which I'm hoping went up last night, I said that I'd be getting up from here to go do some writing, but I didn't. I'm still sitting right here in time to do another BookTube video, so really this is all your fault, BookTube. I am doing my Friday reads for the week of February 15th, 2019. So, I am in the middle of a fantasy series, the God Surf series, which I started last week. I finished book 1, Silent Hall, a couple of days ago, and now I am in the very beginnings of book 2. It's called Among the Fallen, although I got it from Interlibrary Loan and it has a sticker on it, so that covers the pretty artwork of the cover. So here it is. This is what it's supposed to look like. Very pretty. And I'm liking this series more than I thought I would. This is sort of a stereotypical fantasy quest in a medieval-esque fantasy world. Not my usual reading, I don't think. Well, frankly, a lot of the fantasy reading I've done of late has been YA, and it's been focusing on predominantly female characters and inching away from Western influences. And this is a mix of characters. I call them the Breakfast Club of characters. There's 3 guys and 2 girls, and they're fugitives. Their island has been destroyed by a vengeful god, and so they flee to the continent and find the questionable protection of a wizard who sends them off for magical MacGuffins that gets them hated by more gods. But I like the MacGuffins because they flesh out Dolkart's world. This is by Ennis Dolkart. This is a theological fantasy. The gods are real and they play a pretty direct influence. Well, not very direct because they're too powerful for the most part to be on Earth or, you know, whatever this planet is called. But they have emissaries through their sacred animals and through their priests and devout that sort of you know, do their spying and a lot of times killing for them. It's a very brutal world. There's a lot of gods who are in conflict with each other, and so their followers and people from different cities are in conflict with each other. And then there's a God Most High who, through the course of the first book, the characters learn more about, and it's a god of dragons and dragon-touched, which are the product of human dragon mating. And one of our characters is dragon touched. He's in his real form very scaly, and he can fly and has breathes fire. So the story, as told through the POVs of these 5 characters and some others, is most directly about these characters trying to find safe harbor in a very violent world where their home has been torn from them and they have a found family with each other. And I'm kind of impressed by the characterization. I mean, it's not as deep as a literary novel, but for, you know, a really fast-paced fantasy, it does pretty well. I mean, it's not just one-dimensional. And also, these books are kind of long, like the first one was over 500 pages, and the action-packed story got me through it more quickly than I would a literary novel. And now I've just started book 2, where, as is the way with a lot of fantasy novels, the first one ended with a huge, world-changing, abrupt magical event. And now the characters are reeling and trying to find their way in the new world. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really glad that I liked this series because, you know, I went ahead and got all 3 of them on a whim, so I don't know what I would have done if I didn't actually like the first book. I guess I wouldn't have kept reading, but read away I will continue to do. But after that, and before I move to book 3 of the series, I think I'm going to take a break and read for my book club, because we have this that we're going to talk about at the end of the month. This is called Dirty Wars and Polished Silver, The Life and Times of a War Correspondent Turned Ambassatrix by Lynda Schuster, and I'll read from the flap. Growing up in 1970s Detroit, Lynda Schuster felt certain life was happening elsewhere. As soon as she graduated from high school, she set out to find it. Dirty Wars and Polished Silver is Schuster's story of her life abroad as a foreign correspondent in war-torn countries, and later as the wife of a U.S. ambassador. It chronicles her time working on a kibbutz in Israel when the country was under attack, reporting on uprisings from South Africa and death squads in Central America, dodging rocket fire in Lebanon, and grieving the loss of her first husband, a fellow journalist, who was killed only 10 months after their wedding. But even after her second marriage to a U.S. diplomat, all the black tie parties and personal staff and genteel AMBASSATRIX school grooming in the world could not protect her from the violence of war. Equal parts gripping and charming, Dirty Wars and Polished Silver is a story about one woman's quest for self-discovery, only to find herself unexpectedly, more or less, back where she started, yet wiser, saner, more resolved, and with all of her limbs intact. So I'm very intrigued by this. This is a memoir I had no idea about until we voted on it with my book club, and now I get to read it. It seems like it spans a lot of life experience. I really love journalists. Well, I love them writing nonfiction. I think they have a great, concise, clear voice for that. And I'm curious how she'll do with a memoir to give it a more personal touch. I'm hoping it won't be too depressing with all of the war, but you know, I guess that's life. But yeah, I will report back. If not here, then at least in my Goodreads review. So that about covers it for me now. Yeah, like what I was talking about at the beginning of the video is that I'm trying to finish a draft of a blog post for a bookish event I went to earlier this week, which I really enjoyed, and it got me a book that I will be showing in my book haul at the end of the month. I still have a lot of booktube videos that I'm hoping to make in February, but you know, there's so much calling on my time, like from work, and I'm doing a February nano project of sorts with my writing group, and I'm trying to read, wine. But at least I have a 3-day weekend coming up. That's exciting because of President's Day weekend in the US, so hopefully that'll really get my butt in gear to get some major headway on all of this. So I hope you're all feeling good about where you are in your own life goals. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.